Hi, I'm Lillian and welcome back to my channel Ink and Pages. This video is just going to be a teeny tiny video where basically all I'm going to do is rearrange my bookshelves ever so slightly. Basically, I have just moved out on my own. I used to live with my family in our family house, and I've been living there for about just under 3 years after I graduated university. And when I moved in, the books and bookcases were literally the first thing we moved. They did end up being actually probably top 3 hardest things to move in. First would have been definitely my mattress. We had to carry it up 4 flights of stairs and get it around some very tight corners. Second was probably my bed, again because we had to dismantle the whole thing in order to get it up the stairs and into my flat. And third was the books, because they are so heavy and I have so many of them. Even after doing quite a big unhaul, which was my previous video, I got rid of about, I think, 40 something books. Even after that, I had boxes and boxes and boxes of books. We had to carry them up all of the stairs. It was horrible. It was the very first thing we did and it nearly killed me. But once we had them all in, I kind of just chucked them on the bookshelves in any random order. I didn't pack them according to colour because that's how I organised my bookshelves. I actually just packed them in whatever boxes they would fit. I kind of did it by size and put all the big books together and so on. So when I first unpacked them, they didn't look like this. They were just a whole mess. It wasn't very aesthetic to look at. And then after a couple of days, I did go back in and put them in this sort of vague rainbow order you can see behind me, with some changes to how they were on my bookshelves at home. In my old bedroom, I actually had really low ceilings. I was kind of in the attic room. So these shelves are about 5 foot, about 150 centimeters tall, which isn't as tall as most people's bookcases. But now in this new place, I've got much higher ceilings to play with. So I think my eventual plan is to get rid of what you can see behind me and just get 2 of the taller Billy bookcases next to each other. At the moment, I have 2 smaller Billy bookcases making up the bottom half of these shelves. They are 106 centimeters tall and they're actually different widths. One of them is 80 centimeters and one of them is 60. And this top piece was actually built for me by my dad when I first ran out of space on my original shelves. And then over here we have my non-fiction bookcase. This is also not really that organised. This middle shelf is my mythology and folklore collection, which I will also be organising in this video because it is not in the right order at all. I'm actually a bit torn on whether I want to keep the non-fiction bookcase as a separate thing. I did have the idea to buy a smaller, longer bookcase of some kind and then kind of use it as a TV stand. Don't have a TV either. That's something I was going to get. So I would have my fiction books on the left and then non-fiction sort of on the right under the TV. So then I would have all of my books together on one wall, but I'm still toying with the idea. I thought I found the perfect shelf from IKEA. It turned out to be kind of ugly and too small in real life. So that's something I'm still working on. I'm not entirely sure what my end game is for the non-fiction shelves. But basically today, I just want to make them look nicer. I want to hide all of the gaps that me getting rid of books has left on my shelves. And so I'm thinking what I'll do is probably pick out some of my favourite books and favourite covers and display them outwards so that it fills the space more. So that is the first thing I'm going to do now. So these are the books I have chosen to try and display outwards if I have enough space for them. They're all kind of different colours, which I'm hoping will work. So we've got a blue one, the Gloaming, a black one, the Encyclopedia of Early Earth, 2 more kind of black ones. We've got Monstrous and Circe. Circe's sort of orange. That will work well for me. I don't think I own a single orange book now. 2 pink ones, Sissy and Red, White and Royal Blue. A pink/purple one, the best we could do. A yellowy green one, High Matte, which I read last year. Loved. Uprooted, which actually for so long I did used to display outwards on my bookcase because it was and remains one of the most beautiful books I've ever owned. And then I've got the first 2 here, but I'm thinking probably just a darker shade of magic because it's the first one in the series. So yeah, now I'm going to try and make my shelves look nice with the help of these books in particular. So I think I'm done. It, as expected, took longer than expected, and I had a lot of difficulty in the white section because I couldn't move that shelf because that book's too big, and I couldn't move those white books over onto that side because then they were too big. But I think I've worked around it just about as well as I could have. So the only thing left to do for this bookcase is sort out the Harry Potter shelf at the bottom. Obviously, Harry Potter is now kind of a controversial series on BookTube because of what a horrible transphobe the author is, but I have to say that these books will always hold a special place in my heart, and honestly I can't see myself getting rid of them, but I can say that J.K. Rowling will not be getting any more of my money, and I encourage you to donate to trans charities and organisations which are fighting the hatred she's been spewing, and I will link several in the description of this video. Okay, I'm now on to my non-fiction bookcase, and honestly there's not much I can organise here because they were never that organised to begin with, but I'm going to give them a once over, double check things are vaguely in the right area, and especially look at this middle shelf. These are my folklore and mythology books, and I think I'm going to put them back to how they were, which was organised vaguely by geography. So I think I'm done. Like I said before, this is temporary at best. I am going to get new shelves, and then I'll probably make a whole new video about buying the shelves and reorganizing my books on them, because honestly I love watching those kind of videos on YouTube, so I definitely want to make one myself. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it mildly interesting, and I will see you in my next video.